And we are up, we are running, we are live right up and now. Right up and now. How y'all doing? This draft is about to start in 50 seconds. We try to do the big dog. Underdog added the big dog. $250 buy-in, 2,000 or so entries, a little more than that, and $50K to first. And for the purposes of this video, I'd be sitting here for a couple hours until people woke up to be able to actually do the big dog. So we're going to be doing the Best Ball Mania. This is going to be my second Best Ball Mania draft after the Cam Akers news, and I just don't think I'm going to draft Daryl Henderson. At least not right now, and probably not ever in this Best Ball Mania. I mean, 40% of the field already has the leg up by getting him in the fucking 8th to 10th to 11th to 12th round, depending on how early you drafted. So drafting him in the 3rd to 5th round doesn't make much sense, not only for that reason, and you can see right now, I'm actually, yet again, this is a couple times now, I have the 4th pick. There's a couple times that I've been picking early here, so we like that. We get an elite running back to start, and we can go from there. So this draft has started. If you're in the chat, feel free to chime in, whatever you want to do. We're drafting on Underdog, the best platform to be drafting on, Best Ball, and they also have season-long drafts as well. You can check it out down below. But this is a Best Ball draft. If you want to use the code SAL, the link down below. If you want to play yourself, you'll get a $25 entry to play with for free. And oh yeah, that's the entry that can get you into the $1,001,000 to first contest this year, Best Ball Mania 2. But the other reason I don't really feel, what's up, Sal? I got the 1-2. Let's get it. Hey, my man Justin's up in this one. He's drafting right now. Let's see who he takes. Let's criticize whoever he takes here at the 2. I mean, you can't make a, I guess you could. I guess you could make a really bad, you playing the big dog? Zay Garcia. I will be playing the big dog. I tried to get into the big dog. He takes Dalvin Cook. Solid pick. There goes Derrick Henry. So now here I am at the 4th overall pick. This is often a spot where I take Ezekiel Elliott if he falls to me at the 4th overall pick. I do indeed like me some Saquon Barkley as well, but I'll take Zeke. Somebody said in the last video that I'm getting too much Zeke because I keep taking Zeke here, but it's just the guy who looks the best to me. Has the least question marks compared to Saquon. Aaron Jones, potentially, he'll be jumping up into that range the second you get back Aaron Rodgers, or once it becomes official. But the other reason why drafting right now, and you can see running backs going off the board above me. We'll zoom in so you can see exactly what's happening. So this is the draft board right now. The other reason why drafting Daryl Henderson right now doesn't make too much sense, and Eckler goes at the 1-6, is because they're going to add somebody. And I know you're like, and this was my first thought. My first thought in the reaction video was there's not really anybody on the market. I'm not scared of Duke Johnson. I'm not scared of them bringing back Todd Gurley. I doubt they do that based on how the breakup went with the Rams. Le'Veon Bell. I'm not scared of any of these people. Adrian Peterson. But what I would be scared of is the fact that we still have a month and a half until the season starts. There's going to be camp cuts. There is the ability that Royce Freeman could be traded. There is the ability that Sony Michel could be cut. There is the ability, right? We have these situations here. There's the ability that Giovanni Bernard could be cut if Tampa Bay doesn't keep 3 running backs. Always looks so good. Leonard Fournette could be cut again. Like, we don't know. I know he got a 1-year deal, but these are not major deals. Tevin Coleman could be cut. These are not things that I'm fully expecting to happen, but they could happen. I mean, Tevin Coleman's on a 1-year deal for barely any money, right? So if these guys ended up getting cut, and Tevin Coleman and Daryl Henderson are like the same fucking player, so I don't know if that's the exact model that they would go for. But there is a chance, as you can see, running backs all going in the first round outside of Kelsey at the 1-9 right here. But there is still a very strong chance that somebody's going to get cut or somebody's going to just get released during the preseason. A rookie's going to look really good. Multiple rookies will look really good. 5th, 6th, 7th round rookies will look good at the running back position, meaning that they can cut some veterans that they don't need as much use out of. Keyshawn Vaughn could get cut and he can get signed, and that's somebody that can, a second-year player, can get some touches for the Rams. So that's my concern. They say they like Xavier Jones. They say they like Jake Funk. I'm not too concerned about that this year. Unless they come out in the preseason and do something crazy. So there goes the first wide receivers at the 111 and the 112. You're continuing to see, and Devonte Adams finally goes, you're continuing to see Devonte Adams just fall because of this Rodgers saga going on with him. I hope Aaron Rodgers falls to pick 2 in the first. Falls to pick 2 in the first, as Butt Thompson. I'm not too sure what that means. Aaron Rodgers, I would be taking him way too early. Kenny Wilson, Sal, what's your strategy if you own the last pick in the first round? Just snag 2 top-end running backs. Snag 2 top-end running backs and then probably not draft another running back until like round 10 to 12. Yeah, that's my strategy. I know there's elite wide receivers, quote-unquote elite wide receivers there at the end of the first round. You could go, if he falls, as Steph Diggs and whatever running backs left. In this case, it would be an Aaron Jones who's still left. But I would snag, like if I was at that 1-2 pick right there, I mean, taking like Aaron Jones and one of those running backs looks very appealing, but I would probably take Aaron Jones and Najee Harris, Aaron Jones and Joe Mixon, and then not draft another running back until like the 10th round. I mean, that's my goal right now. Obviously, I don't have the last pick. I had the 4th overall pick. I took Zeke. My next pick would ideally be a top running back that I feel comfortable with. Maybe a Clyde Edwards-Helaire falls to me. I don't think it'll happen, but maybe. And then not draft another running back until like the 10th round, snag like a Gus Edwards there, and then not draft one until like the 14th round, snag. I don't even know at that point. I could even wait till like the 16th and get like Joshua Kelly or just the last pick in the draft. But lots of running backs going. There finally goes Joe Mixon. Aaron Jones is just completely falling right now. We're at the 2-7, and it looks like so Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are available. That locks me in here at the 2-9 as I'm coming up. Sal Vetri. That locks me into one of these running backs. And I'm okay with any of them. So whichever one falls. There goes Aaron Jones. That's a great value at the 2-7. And Aaron Jones. Tyler Boyd, top 15, says Butt Thompson. But Thompson is lost in the sauce. He's up a little bit too early right now. So Najee Harris and Clyde Edwards-Helaire here. I have them back-to-back in my rankings. I have Najee as my running back 11. I have Clyde as my running back 12. Literally, whichever one falls to me, I'll go with the other one. So there goes Najee Harris. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if we just want to take a peek at what's available at wide receiver, it's A.J. Brown, it's Justin Jefferson, it's Michael Thomas. I know a lot of people like those guys. Maybe one of them, ideally one of them, will fall to me at my 3rd pick. Darren Waller is available, but we're going with Clyde. So we start our draft off with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Ezekiel Elliott. I got 2 top running backs. I really don't have to take another one until at least round 8. Like these next 6 picks can be a top-end quarterback and just a bunch of wide receivers, depending on what is best available. So we can try and get a top-end wide receiver. Here is the goal, and make that wide receiver have some sort of stacking ability. I believe DeAndre Hopkins is gone. Yes, so Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, these are my best available wide receivers. I'm a little bit lower on A.J. Brown. He's right now my wide receiver 11. We did a full rankings update, if you're wondering. A full rankings update over the last couple of days. Obviously the Cam Akers news, but just in general, updating for a lot of other news that ended up coming out. So you can check out the rankings. They're all updated on bigenergysports.com right here. You get the draft guide. Limited time only for right now. Limited time only for free, F-R-E-E, a chance to get it as an add-on. So I'm 2 picks away. There's still a lot of good wide receivers left on the board. I mean, we're looking at, there goes CeeDee Lamb, but he wasn't really on my radar at this point. Give me Alfred Morris and Doug Martin all day. Yeah, get Jackie Battle while you're at it. I'm a pick away. Michael Thomas is the pick here for me, and he goes. So Michael Thomas would have been a great pick because you could late round get Jameis. So he goes. So now we're looking at A.J. Brown, which at this point, even though I'm lower on A.J. Brown, this is the point where I'm start to be fine to take him. Terry McLaurin's here, Amari Cooper, A.J. Brown. I really do like. I have Terry McLaurin and Amari Cooper ranked higher than A.J. Brown right now. We're going to go with Terry McLaurin. I'm getting a lot of Amari lately. You can obviously try and build a Dak Prescott stack, which I've been doing often. But I have Terry McLaurin as my wide receiver 9, Amari my wide receiver 10, and A.J. Brown my wide receiver 11 right now. So 2 stud running backs and 1 stud wide receiver with Terry McLaurin, in my opinion. And if there is some sort of I'm not expecting a debacle, but if there's something that goes wrong there, well, then obviously I'm not winning anyways if something goes wrong with Ryan Fitzpatrick or he totally falls off a cliff. Amari Cooper's still on the board at the 3-8. That is probably the best value that I'm seeing. I'm very curious to see where Daryl Henderson goes. I've been saying I'm not drafting him, but if he falls to the 6th round, I'll take him. But my odds are he's going to be taken pretty soon. Daryl Henderson is currently my running back 15, but I find myself passing on him often, which means I might actually start to rank him lower because the second a Sony Michel becomes available after cuts or something along that, I'm not fully expecting it, but second something like that happens, Henderson goes from my RB 15 to like my RB 24, 25, and then I'm definitely not taking him with a top 3, 4, or maybe even 5 round pick, right? He's just in that dead zone where I don't want to touch him. Julio goes. Julio, for me, is somebody that fell a lot in my most recent rankings. He is my wide receiver 21. There is, as of right now, 7 wide receivers still left on the board I would have taken over Julio. We get our first quarterback to go in Mahomes. So 2 running backs, a wide receiver. I'm looking to take another wide receiver or 2 and then get like a 6th round quarterback if we can find one of these top-end guys to fall to us, a Russ, somebody along those lines, right? Maybe a Herbert. If Chris Carson falls into your lap, you grabbing? I'm not grabbing, no. If Chris Carson falls to the 4-9, that's a potential spot. But the strategy that I've been going with is pretty firm. If I can get 2 top-end running backs that I like or I see as RB1s, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is my RB12, so that's the tier, and Zeke is my RB2 right now, just slightly ahead of Dalvin Cook. They're basically 2A, 2B. But if I can get those 2, I'm just not taking a running back until like round 8. If a guy completely falls, then we can change up the strategy. And if a guy completely falls, like say Carson was to fall, I don't expect it, but if he was to fall and there's no other wide receivers that I like on the board, well then yeah, we pivot. We don't stay hard onto a strategy. said hard on. But outside of that, I'm looking right now on the board. There's about 4 wide receivers that I'm willing to take right now over Chris Carson. Miles Sanders is there, Travis Etienne. So that's the problem, right? Strategy-wise, I got those 2 workhorse guys. Maybe in the 6th round, if somebody fell to a ridiculous value like a Myles Gaskin or Travis Etienne, I pivot. But assuming that everybody goes where they should be going, I'm going to stick to wide receiver at this next pick. And the fact that some quarterbacks are going, Kyle Pitts goes, it gives me a better opportunity to get the wide receiver that I'm looking for as I sit now about 5 or 6 picks away. Robert Woods goes. So, yes, there's 1 wide receiver that I'm really looking for and looking forward to potentially getting. 2 that I really strongly want here. If they both go, then we might have to pivot depending on what's left. But we'll have 2 somewhat quick picks here back to back. My left hand, it feels like I'm getting like carpal tunnel sitting here at this desk for like the last 3 hours doing work. DJ Moore goes, not somebody that I wanted, so it's perfect, especially because he goes early. Am I getting carpal tunnel? Right here hurts. Any doctors out there? I bought this fucking thing, but it's mainly for a keypad, not a laptop. So it doesn't work too well. It's straight buns. Straight buns. So DJ Moore goes, Robert Woods goes. Let's see how many wide receivers go in a row here. There's still a lot of good running backs. The guy on the clock right now, the next 3 guys drafting already have 2 running backs. So my guess is they don't go running back. Deontay Johnson goes, so there you go. So yeah, I mean, everybody's already kind of building with this 2 running back approach to start. NR Grieve already has the 2 running backs. He got Aaron Jones in the 2nd late. So he goes Chris Carson. So there you go. So there's the question. Butt Thompson in the chat asks, would you take Chris Carson if he fell? He does. The end of the 4th round now, Miles Sanders is still there, which is hard to pass up on, but there's 1 wide receiver. If he doesn't go here, and he does, Cooper Kupp was the 1 wide receiver I wanted. Cooper Kupp with massive fucking upside, in my opinion. So Cooper Kupp was the wide receiver that I wanted there. Now this gives me the ability to go ahead and get, Chris Godwin, Jamar Chase, Tyler Lockett still available. I could just go ahead and get Miles Sanders here. I am going to go ahead. I'm going to go wide receiver. I'm going to go Jamar Chase. It's maybe a little bit of a reach, not a complete reach. He's my 2nd best available wide receiver behind Godwin. I'll take the upside of Jamar Chase in this type of a format. We take him over. Normally, I would have gone Miles Sanders there. Maybe I doubt he makes it back around to me with some guys behind only having 1 running back. So normally I go Miles Sanders there, but I want to switch it up. I want to get my 2nd wide receiver right now because now this opens up the ability to have the Joe Burrow Bengals stack, and that's something that I want to look into. Clearly not going to take Joe Burrow this early. Almost got Chris Carson. That guy constantly is drafting below ADP, in my opinion. Yeah, he's getting Chris Carson. He got, I don't know who he got as his first wide receiver, but he got Aaron Jones below ADP. We can take a look at his team right now, actually. So he is sporting Austin Eckler, which was slightly above ADP, Chris Carson, Aaron Jones, A.J. Brown, which was, I would say, in line to slightly below ADP. I passed on him, but yes, I like where the draft is going. Jamar Chase is, okay, so Miles Sanders goes at the 4-12. The last pick of the 4th round goes Miles Sanders. That is fantastic value for Crab Cake, who ended up taking Miles Sanders as his 3rd running back, so he ended up pulling the trigger on 3 running backs. He went McCaffrey, J.K. Dobbins, and Miles Sanders. So I'm a couple picks away again, and right here it's just best available and ideally wide receiver. So as I'm looking at this, like Travis Etienne at the 5-4, that's a fine spot to be taking Etienne. I love Etienne a lot. Season-long leagues, I'm going to be pushing hard for Travis Etienne. But at this point right now, I'm still looking at some wide receivers on the board. T. Higgins is still there. 5th round pick on T. Higgins, not out of the question for me as I'm a couple picks away. T. Higgins ADP overall is 48 right now. We would be getting him about 5 picks below ADP and getting T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and there goes fucking T. Higgins. My man Justin is watching this. You motherfucker. I just want to let you know that you ain't going to get... I want to let you know right now that you're not going to get... So at the 5-4, T. Higgins going to be Adam Thielen. No, thank you. Never Adam Thielen is the answer. Sorry, Sal, I had to snipe you. Yeah, you didn't have to snipe me. Joe Burrow is who I'm going to make a priority to get now. So we're sitting here. I'm in the 5th round. Nobody really stands out that much, to be honest with you, except one feller. Let's grab him here. I'm just going to go here in the 5th round. Somebody that I don't take often, Lamar Jackson. 3rd quarterback off the board. I'm not too concerned with stacking Lamar Jackson, to be completely honest with you. But if we can get him with a late round Rashad Bateman stack, we'll go for it. So we're in the 5th round. Normally in these first 8 rounds, unlike most years, really first 6 rounds, I'm trying to get one of these elite mobile quarterbacks that I know is going to be in the starting position. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, for the most part, a little bit less. Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Russ Wilson, right? Mahomes. So when that part of the draft comes, where I wanted T. Higgins and he goes, where the wide receivers or the running backs I'm looking at are kind of just like, it's not exciting me. Like I don't want to take Daryl Henderson. The wide receivers that were available were like DJ Shark and Brandon Ayuk, bottom of the tier guys. Not much difference from when I'll be on the clock again, and Odell and Robbie Anderson and Sutton will be there. That's sort of a reach right there, in my opinion, on Adam Thielen. When that starts to happen, that's where I pivot to in these rounds to quarterback, right? So we get Lamar Jackson, elite, massive upside, of course. It would have either been Lamar Jackson or TJ Hawkinson there. I prefer Lamar, get a quarterback on the board, open up some late round stacks. I feel good about that one. Now, normally, old Sal would take a 5th round Myles Gaskin or Travis Etienne there. And by old Sal, I mean just like 2 weeks ago Sal. But I'm finding a lot more value, especially later on, in just waiting till the 3rd running back, or waiting to like the 8th to 10th round to take your 3rd running back. A lot of good running backs hover there, and then just waiting to like the 14th, 15th to take your 4th running back, whether it's a Devontae Booker, whether it's a Joshua Kelly, Jerick McKinnon, right? Give me Josh McCown all day. Travis Etienne at the 5'10", fantastic pick. Yeah, I love me some Travis Etienne, man. Myles Gaskin continues to fall. Gaskin's still on the clock here with 2 picks left in the 5th round. Does he make it to the 6th round? Somebody would be hit with a lot of nice value. All right. So I got a quarterback, so I'm good on quarterbacks now. We're going to be looking at running back and wide receiver moving forward. The fact that I took a quarterback early in one of the elites, in my opinion, really the quarterback number 1 overall. He's not there in my ranks right now, but he's moving towards that way in Lamar Jackson. I don't have to take a tight end now, especially because the top 5 are gone. So 1 pick left. So Josh Jacobs goes over Myles Gaskin. That's pretty interesting in my opinion. That's very interesting. Kareem Hunt goes over Myles Gaskin. Yeah, these are all odd to me. I mean, Myles Gaskin to me right now is the workhorse on his team. And there goes Daryl Henderson at the 6-1. That's a fine spot to take Daryl Henderson, because even if they add, say, a Sony Michel, a Royce Freeman come cut season or middle of the preseason, whatever it might be, Henderson in the 6th round is probably where he'll stabilize. So that's a good, and if they don't add anybody, then he'll be a 3rd round pick. So that's a good spot. A lot of running backs going. 5 running backs in a row are going right here. These are solid running backs. Etienne, Henderson is fine right now. Jamal Williams. But it's leaving a lot of wide receivers to fall down the list. It's making it even easier to pass on running back my next time up, unless Myles Gaskin falls all the way to me. So finally, we get a wide receiver to break it up. It's Chase Claypool, who is just fine. I'm not super high on him. I think he's okay. I'm looking as we get back to it. I'm about 5 picks away here. I don't know how much I should say out loud since we got some people sniping in the chat. But I'm looking at one wide receiver that's interesting to me, and I'm also looking at a running back that's interesting to me. What tight ends are left? Yeah, only 5 tight ends have gone. I'm not taking tight end. It's either like the first 8 picks take an elite quarterback or an elite tight end. I went quarterback with Lamar. Mark Andrews is left. I'm not reaching on Mark Andrews just to stack him with Lamar. I'll get a Rashad Bateman or like a Tylan Wallace with like my 18th fucking pick, or Devin Duvernay with my 18th pick, something like that. But Dallas Goedert, Tyler Higbee, I mean, these are just guys who all look the same. You can argue that Andrews and Goddard are a tier above everybody else, barely in my opinion. And then it's just Tyler Higbee, Logan Thomas, Gesicki's, Fonts, all these guys who are like the same fucking guy. So there goes Odell. Odell was the guy that I was actually really interested in drafting. Still a lot left as we're 2 picks away. Gaskin finally goes. Chase Edmonds still available. There goes Robbie Anderson as we're now 1 pick away. There's a couple of receivers I'm looking at. Chase Edmonds is a quality pick at the 6-9, but I am going to pass on it. I'll take probably a running back somewhere around the 8th or 9th round. So a couple of wide receivers that are on the clock that look decent. With you on the tight ends, I've been trying to get one of the big 2 or just waiting. Yeah, I don't even like trying to get the big 2. Like I probably will have. There goes Chenault. Chenault just so early taken at the 6-8. People are just, if there wasn't Twitter love for Laviska Shenault last year to this extent, and this lets Cortland Sutton fall into my lap, so we'll take Cortland Sutton, a wide receiver 1 on his team, who is going to get a quarterback upgrade once they name Teddy Bridgewater the starter. We'll take Cortland Sutton at the end of the 6th round. We'll take that all day. So now we have 3 wide receiver 1s on our team. Jamar Chase, Cortland Sutton. We're feeling good, and Terry McLaurin. Devonta Smith goes. He's somebody who's going to be featured in a video coming up that I am personally not high on Devonta Smith. Chase Edmonds goes to the 6-11. Good spot to be getting Chase Edmonds. Justin in the chat. Mark Andrews not worth it this year. I'm just not taking him in the 6th round. Even the 7th. Like if he falls to the 7th to 8th and I can stack him with Lamar, maybe. I'm just not really. There's 5 tight ends that I'm interested in this year in terms of spending an early round pick on them. And really, I never get most of them. Like Hawkinson is the only elite tight end that I'll ever get, because sometimes he falls to the 6th. He often is falling to the 5th. But I'm not spending a 1st round pick on Travis Kelce. I have not yet. I know how valuable tight ends are in this format. I understand that, but Unless I'm at like the 112 and can go Kelsey and whoever falls, Jonathan Taylor, somebody falls, Austin Eckler, right? That outside of that, and I haven't had that opportunity much yet, he just goes at like the 6th to 7th to 8th pick. And normally I'm at the top 5 picks and I'm taking a running back, or normally I'm not in that range. So I'm not getting Kelsey. I'm not getting Waller at the end of the second. It's just not where I'm at right now. And then at that point, people are taking Kyle Pitts in the 4th. Not really a thing for me. George Kittle, if he falls to the 4th, which is very rare, would be interesting, but it never happens. Dallas Goedert goes above Mark Andrews in this here draft. So there goes Jerry Jeudy. My best availables right now are DJ Chark at the wide receiver position, running backs Fournette, Harris, Michael Carter, and Zach Moss in that order. Zach Moss took a hit down in the rankings. Devonte Williams took a pretty big jump up in the rankings in the most recent update. You can get that Supreme Draft Guide down below if you want to follow along. Michael Pittman going really fucking early. My wide receiver 50 goes in the 7th round. I'm on the clock. Holy shit. Well, DJ Chark falls to us. I'm not really high on DJ Chark, but it's either him or Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm going to take DJ Chark here. It opens up more late-round quarterbacks. That's just a guy who falls. He's my wide receiver 26. I'm not even high on him. He fell a shit ton. I don't know if there's a recent report. I highly doubt it. But let's see. DJ Chark's ADP is 72. I took him at pick 76, so he falls about 4 picks. So I guess his ADP has been crashing. Still get him at value. Debo goes. I have no interest in Debo. He'll be in a video of not having interest in about a week coming out. So now we have 4 wide receiver ones, assuming that people believe Chark is still the number 1 receiver over Shenault, which I firmly do. Mike Williams going on PFF's podcast gets him to go in the 7th round, which is massively early, but I'm fine with it. So we have a stud quarterback, 2 stud running backs, and 4 number 1 wide receivers, in my opinion, right now, in terms of on their team. So we have the ability late to stack with Joe Burrow, to stack with Fitzpatrick, to stack with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, having the Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence stacks sounds extremely sexy. Sounds extremely, extremely sexy. Tyler Boyd is available. He's probably somebody that I should have thought about a little bit more there in terms of completing a stack with Joe Burrow. Would be Tyler Boyd. So that might be a miss on my end, not taking or reaching maybe like 5 picks for Tyler Boyd over DJ Chark. So now we are approaching the end of the 7th. So this draft's going pretty quick. There goes Mark Andrews as he fell. So somebody asked earlier about Mark Andrews. That's not a bad spot at the 7-8 to take him. I'm just personally not taking him there. Even if I had Lamar, I just don't want to take him there. I don't think there's that much upside in Mark Andrews. I think he's a little bit inflated for the touchdowns that he's had in the past, right? And now he actually has some other weapons in there battling him. There goes Antonio Brown. Best available on the board for me right now, Juju Smith-Schuster. A lot of good quarterbacks left. Jalen Hurts, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, right? A lot of good quarterbacks currently left. Curtis Samuel goes. Not somebody that I'm super high on, probably around ADP. Where do you stand on the 3 Jags wide receivers? I have Chark, Visca, then Jones as far as market share. In terms of my interest, it is number 1, Chark, number 2, Marvin Jones, and number 3, Visca. I think Visca is fine, but I have Marvin Jones as my wide receiver 48, and I think Visca is my wide receiver 51. Actually, no. He might have come up. Let me see. The most recent. I'm getting close to being on the board, so I should probably pay attention. I got a couple picks. So, did he come up? Yeah, no. Laviska Shenault's my wide receiver 51. Marvin Jones my wide receiver 48. And then Chark is my wide receiver 26. So, he's the clear one. So, Tyler Boyd goes. So, nice spot to be getting Tyler Boyd there at the beginning of the 8th round. Hollywood Brown goes. So, another potential guy that I could have stacked Lamar with. I'm not really looking to stack Lamar, and if I am, I'm looking to stack him, but I'm not looking to take these 8th round picks on his pass catchers and Andrews and Brown when I can literally get Rashad Bateman a couple rounds later, who I think is going to be his number 1 pass catcher. Like Hollywood Brown has been the market share guy, but he's a downfield weapon. He's not the guy who sees a 30% target share like he did at points last year. That's going to probably be Rashad Bateman. So Rashad Bateman usually goes around like the 10th round, right? So he's a guy that I'll have to start to keep on my radar as we start to get to him. A lot of good quarterbacks left, though. Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. Tyler Higbee goes. So, yeah, tight ends, I'm just going to fully wait. Like, tight ends just going to be a pure punt for me at this point now. Unless there's a stacking ability, which the guys I'm looking at does not seem like there will be. Alrighty. So, I'm curious on some ADPs for some guys. So, the 98 ADP there. There goes Juju. Juju falling to the 8-5 is a quality pick. And also, Big Ben. I don't know if anybody saw. Big Ben's looking really thin. Sleek. He looks like he's in shape. So, I mean, if I haven't been stacking much Big Ben late, but it's easy to get his wide receivers. You get one of them early, probably Deontay, right? And then it's really easy to get Juju late at this point. And Juju late is, target share in the red zone is nice. Lots of things like Brandon Cooks, one of the sneakier upside guys. I mean, Brandon Cook's probably not going to have his quarterback this year, but that's kind of built into the value that you're getting on him. Now we're a pick away here. We are a pick away. We're now on the clock. And as I sit here on the clock, there's a couple things I could do. I can just snag Joe Burrow here and secure the Cincinnati stack and have 2 of my quarterbacks and be done. And that seems appealing to me. Wide receivers on the board are Jarvis Landry, Jalen Waddle, Devonte Parker. I think I'm going to just snag Joe Burrow. This is ADP. He gets taken at the 98th pick often. I take him at the 96th pick, so we're secure. Very rarely do I have my 2 quarterbacks before the double-digit rounds. Very rarely. But we get the secured stack with Jamar Chase and Burrow. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get T. Higgins earlier. But now I feel good. I don't have to draft another quarterback. I have 2 strong quarterbacks. And there's opportunities to get a third piece of a stack later with Joe Burrow if we really wanted to. But the running backs are gone. At that point, you're looking at like some backup tight ends. So we're good there. We're good there with a solo stack, in my opinion. This is the time now in the 9th and 10th round to start to look at my third running back. Sweet Phil donates $2 to the chat. He says, you rock, man. I appreciate that. You rock as well. Michael Carter at the 8-11. Great spot to be getting him. A lot of quality running backs left. My next pick will probably be a running back. As much as I want to take Rashad Bateman here, it's not going to probably happen. Running back here makes sense at the 9th as long as these guys who I'm looking at and look good, which there's, 4 or 5 of them that look good, and I'm pretty sure I pick in that amount. Yeah, so I should be good. Don't expect running backs to go at every pick as McCole Hardman goes. A lot of quality players left. McCole Hardman, I'm still not high on. Maybe I have to get higher on him, but I'm not high on him just yet. Probably wrongfully, but haven't seen much so far from that guy. A lot of good receivers. I mean, Jarvis Landry is always disrespected. He's falling to the 9th round. Devonte Parker, people hate for some reason. I get it. Like, they just drafted the exciting Jalen Waddle. Will Fuller's very exciting. Going to miss week 1, though, for suspension. Devonte Parker, I mean, I know he did most of his damage with Ryan Fitzpatrick, but, I mean, he is the stereotypical, like, alpha build. And he's been, the last 2 years, a very solid wide receiver 1, even though the beginning of his career wasn't great. Grab Justin Tucker at the kicker slot. Never kickers. Go all in on Mostert. I'm good. Thoughts/ranks on the Cowboys players this year. Yeah, I mean, Zeke is my overall. There goes Matthew Stafford. Zeke is my overall right now. Man, it's going to be hard to pass on Jarvis Landry here at the 9-4 to draft the running back. Especially because Damian Harris went, who was the guy I was looking at. Damn. So Leonard Fournette goes. I think we have to take the running back here. It's either Zach Moss, Gus Edwards, these types of guys. I'm not massively high on Zach Moss, but at the 9th round as my third running back, we take Zach Moss, and then we don't have to take another running back potentially till round like 15. So I'm good with that. But the running backs, yeah, I mean, somebody says, talking about in shape, you see Zeke, RB2. Yeah, Zeke is my RB2 right now. I don't really give a shit. I know a lot of people have Dalvin Cook number 2. I see exactly why you would have Dalvin Cook number 2. They're 2A, 2B for me. Zeke right now is my running back 2. Maybe it's contrarian. Maybe it's just because I want to have an actual running back that I think is going to be in the number 1 offense in the league when I don't think that's going to be Dalvin Cook, which leads to more touchdowns. Zeke last year got unlucky at the goal line. Zeke last year, obviously, not having the quarterback is a totally different story. Nothing bad on Dalvin Cook. He's literally my running back 3. If you like one over the other, that's fantastic. I follow like 40 people on Twitter, and I don't follow more because I'm pretty sure like if you said that Ezekiel Elliott was your running back 2 and Dalvin Cook was 3, there'd be a big argument when literally it's like there's no fucking difference in these players. The only way that matters is if you're second on the clock. Alrighty, so quarterbacks are going. Every time a quarterback is taken at this point now, it's fine for me. James Robinson goes. Brutal pick for that guy. I mean, just brutal pick. I have James Robinson nowhere near where he just ended up going. Yeah, James Robinson is my running back 42. A lot of guys going ahead of him. Ronald Jones goes. I mean, yeah, I would have taken Ronald Jones ahead of him. Jalen Waddle goes. Jalen Waddle over Devonte Parker still doesn't make sense to me. I know the upside for the rookies. It still doesn't make sense to me. Just a massive reach on Stafford. Wanted Burrow, but you grabbed him on me. Yeah, I took Burrow about 2 picks before ADP because I figured somebody might try and snag him. Logan Thomas goes. So, yeah, I'm feeling good now. We have our 2 quarterbacks already secured. We have just number 1 wide receivers everywhere, 1 stacked with the quarterback in Chase and Burrow. 3 running backs, 2 of which are studs, Zeke and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And then we got Zach Moss at the 9th. When I said I was going to take a running back in the 9th round or the 10th round as my third guy, I wasn't expecting to have Zach Moss there, right? I think he continues to push away Devin Singletary this year and take a 60 to 65% backfield share of that backfield. But thoughts and ranks on the Cowboys. Yeah, love Zeke. I have Amari slightly ahead of CeeDee Lamb. Amari's my wide receiver 10. CeeDee Lamb, my wide receiver 14. Blake Jarwin late's not bad. Dak, if you can get him in the 5th and 6th with a stack, that's where I get him. Otherwise, I'm not usually getting him there. A lot of good wide receivers are falling to me right now. So I still don't have a tight end, but again, so many good tight ends left. I'm fine taking one in the 12th and 14th, honestly, at this point. Gus Edwards goes. Great spot to get Gus Edwards. He was my best available at running back. Yeah, at this point, it's just wide receiver city for me as we're approaching my pick. Still like 6 picks away, but so many solid wide receivers left. So many solid wide receivers. Lamar is so mobile, friendly, so strong on the ground that I don't need to stack Lamar Jackson. Yes, stacking is very important. I want to stack him. We can get very late stacks with Tylan Wallace, their rookie pick, with Devin Duvernay, a pick last year who they liked in the slot. But if I don't stack him, that's fine because he's the type of guy who can go rush for 1,200 yards and the passing game is not as much there. Although this year you do expect an upgrade in the passing game. Every time a quarterback is taken, there goes Trey Lance. I feel good about that. I have the ability to stack Trevor Lawrence still, right? I already have DJ Shark. I'm not going to go triple stack though. But I do have DJ Shark. I could easily get probably Marvin Jones with this next pick. Does Melvin become value at that point in the draft, 9 rounds into the draft? Melvin Gordon for me, no. Melvin Gordon for me is, I still have 2 guys better than him, Tony Pollard and James Conner. If I was sitting here at this 10-9 pick and say, so Tony Pollard just went, say, so James Conner, Melvin Gordon, and David Johnson right here at the end of the 10th, 11th, I would pick them if they were my 3rd. There goes Melvin Gordon. So like at this point, he's a value. At the 9th round, no. At this point, he is. So there goes Devonte Parker. I wanted him, but this is perfect. We'll take Rashad Bateman. So we get Rashad Bateman in the 10th round. We get the stack. Wasn't really expecting it, but we'll take the stack. We get Rashad Bateman below his ADP, I believe. Maybe not. So yeah, Rashad Bateman's ADP is 113. We get him at 117. Feel good about that. That is me not reaching on Rashad Bateman because he fell, but based on my ranks, that's me reaching on him, which I actually have to give myself a note. I have a little note thing that says update ranks. Move up Bateman because I have Bateman below way too many people. I mean, Bateman was the 2nd best wide receiver in this draft, was not drafted like that because people fell in love with Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle and took those guys way too fucking early. I don't know when the league's ever going to realize that that's never the move. But yeah, I have to make sure I get Bateman above Jalen Reagor, above Marvin Jones, in the range of Nelson Aguilar, Darnell Mooney's, which is where we are right now. Like Bateman a lot. And again, in my opinion, Bateman is the number 1 receiver on his team, ahead of Mark Andrews, ahead of Hollywood Brown. That might seem crazy to you, but it's true. He is the skill set to move the chains, to go deep, the intermediate routes. He's the Steph Diggs type player, right? Whereas Hollywood Brown is a one-trick pony down the field. That's basically it. So that guy doesn't get a 30% target share. That's why there's been problems the last couple of years in Baltimore, because they've been trying to make a field stretcher a number 1 wide receiver. Mike Williams is never going to be the number 1 wide receiver. Deshaun Jackson was the very, I would say, Marvin Harrison, Deshaun Jackson, small guys who are number 1 receivers. It lasts for a short time, and it is the extreme outlier. Hunter Henry goes so fucking early. My tight end 22. Jesus, crab cake. What a mistake. I'm only going to take one more running back at most. My 11-4 pick is coming up here, and there's still good wide receivers left, so we're just going to keep going wide receiver. Like running back would be Kenyon Drake, Latavius Murray, not interested at all in Murray. Kenyon Drake here is interesting, but I could just take a guy in like the 12th round, 14th round. I should probably look at tight ends since we're in the 11th round, but look at this. I mean, Mike Gesicki available right now, right? So many good guys. Adam Trotman, Robert Tonyan. There's going to be a run as Darnell Mooney goes. That would have been the wide receiver I wanted there. There's going to definitely be a run on these guys. And for me personally, I'm going to just take Corey Davis here because another wide receiver 1 on his team. Say what you want about Elijah Moore. Say what you want about Crowder. They're going to be competing. Corey Davis got the 2nd most money in free agency behind Kenny Golladay. Both of those guys going to New York. We'll take Corey Davis in the 11th round, who fits downfield nicely with a big arm quarterback. So at this point, I currently have, and we can pull up my roster, and I'll move myself away, and then we'll get back into the chat. So tight ends is where I'm going to be looking at next, and maybe a 4th running back. So my team, Lamar and Joe Burrow. I like that. Get the stacks with their guys. Zeke, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Zach Moss. We need one more running back. And then here's the wide receivers, which I like. All of them wide receiver 1s on their team, in my opinion. Terry McLaurin, wide receiver 1 on his team. Jamar Chase, wide receiver 1 on his team. Sutton, DJ Shark, Rashad Bateman, and Corey Davis. We have no tight ends, but we have 6 receivers, 3 running backs, and 2 quarterbacks. Tight ends are definitely going to make a run this round, in my opinion. So we got to make sure that we secure one of them because a lot of people have not been taking their tight ends, and there you can see a couple of them go. Nelson Aguilar would have been my other option right there with Corey Davis. I'm just getting a lot of Nelson Aguilar, so I passed on him there. So yeah, you can see some tight ends starting to go. Take some quarterbacks, because the more quarterbacks that go, the better for me. It means I'm automatically just getting better value somewhere else. So tight end will be our next pick, and then we'll choose between fourth running back and another receiver after that. Quarterbacks are going. This is perfect for me. I appreciate that super chat again, Mr. Sweet Flow. I think there's an argument to be made that Cooper isn't even Dallas's wide receiver 1, coming off of multiple ankle surgeries and struggle on the road. Give me Lamb at 1. Yeah, Lamb's going to be predominantly slot. I think Lamb is the best talent on that team. I think Cooper is still by far the wide receiver 1. Amari Cooper has shown no slowing down. He is still relatively young. He came out late. He's still relatively young. So Amari Cooper to me is, there's an argument, of course, right? But Amari Cooper to me is the clear wide receiver 1. I still view Amari Cooper as a top 8 wide receiver in the league. I don't view CeeDee Lamb as that. Amari Cooper is just turned 27 years old. So, I mean, this is still a very fucking young wide receiver, right? CeeDee Lamb, I believe, came out young. Let's see. I should probably be on the clock soon, so I should pay attention more. All right, good. Running backs are going, which Kenyon Drake, so 22 years old, CeeDee Lamb, yeah. Obviously, second-year player. Marvin Jones goes. Paris Campbell goes. Those guys are fine in my opinion, on if they go right now. Adam Trotman goes, so that's a tight end that I was looking at. Yeah, tight ends getting a little bit, not totally weakened out here, but a little bit. Solid Evan, man, but don't ever compare Deshaun Jackson to Marvin Harrison. I think you can compare them. I'm not saying their overall bodies of work. I'm comparing the type of players that they are. They were wide receiver 1 on their team as undersized in downfield options, and I compared them as outliers. So completely fair to compare those two players. I think people are just like stuck in like the Twitter argument stage, which the last year of just really 6 months getting fully off of Twitter, not having it on my phone, barely looking at it, following it, nobody, literally never been happier. It's just crazy to look back on. I actually at points would argue with people on that app. Like, what the fuck was the point of that? But all that said, you can definitely compare Marvin Harrison and Deshaun Jackson, especially because Deshaun Jackson is a fucking quality football player. He might have been hurt the last 2 to 2.5 years. But people are comparing Devonta Smith and Marvin Harrison because there's reasons to compare them. Running backs left right now. Is there anybody worth taking? I mean, David Johnson at this point, I'm just not fucking taking him. Jamal Williams is interesting. Maybe he can make it to my next pick because there's other guys that I do like. So let's go tight end here. Robert Tonyan's my highest graded player, but that said, I'm going to take Evan Ingram. Tonyan, a little touchdown dependent, still waiting on the news on Rogers, of course. So Ingram, a little bit less question marks, more competition with Kadarius Toney there, Sterling Shepard moving into the slot. But we'll just take our first tight end in Evan Ingram. So you get Evan Ingram at the end of the 12th round. I mean, this is a guy that was going in like the fucking 5th, 6th round last year, which is crazy. And there goes Robert Tonyan. So I need another tight end, maybe even 2 more tight ends, depending on. I haven't done that much, if at all. So John Brown, my best available wide receiver, goes. I mean, I might just keep waiting on running backs because, Nyheim Hines, if he's there, is interesting. But Tevin Coleman's going to fall. James White's going to fall. Just the straight backups. Xavier Jones is still there. Tariq Cohen, I know his knee's sore, but he's falling. Devontae Booker, I'm just going to keep waiting. Especially some of these guys I like a lot to fall. I think Judy will ease into wide receiver 1 in the Broncos since Sutton has been hurt. But the thing about players being hurt, I like Judy a lot. Judy could be the wide receiver 1. He's more of the slot type of a player, and Sutton can kind of win in all phases of the field. But like the argument on a guy being hurt, especially a younger player on a torn ACL with modern day medicine, it just doesn't mean much to me. Like, these guys are coming back without missing a beat, and they have been for 5 to 6 years, let alone in 2021 when the rate of technology it went from like 1% per 10 years to like 1 million %, and that's not even a joke. That's like a legitimate number. So like the arguments on Courtland Sutton, who is by far the number 1 wide receiver on that team, and if he gets a better quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater, just his injury being a reason to point for him not to be the wide receiver 1 anymore makes no sense to me, because it's not even like Jerry Jeudy had a fine connection with his quarterbacks last year. Drew Lock sucked, and now Teddy Bridgewater's there and probably going to be the quarterback who has no connection to anybody there. And when you're looking downfield, you probably have less Jeudy. So I do think there's an argument to be made there that Jeudy could become the wide receiver 1. I just think that using the injury of Courtland Sutton is overweighting the injury that he had. A torn ACL 20 years ago would be extremely impactful. These days, not so much. So, best available wide receivers left. Is Ruggs still on the board? Ruggs is not on the board. So, there's not much left here, to be honest with you. I think I'll just go running back and go Jamal Williams. So we'll close up our running backs. We get in the 13th round Jamal Williams. So that's why I'm just not taking guys in like the 7th to 12th round. Because Jamal Williams isn't great, but Jamal Williams is probably going to see 6 to 8 to 10 touches a game. And even if you don't think he should, blame his coach. So now I'm done with running backs. I got my 4 running backs. I could have waited and maybe got like later on a Tevin Coleman, but we'll take Jamal Williams, who's going to have a secure role on that team and can more than, and we saw last year when Aaron Jones got hurt, more than willing to handle the load. So we're done with running back. We're done with quarterback. We need 1 tight end, and then we're just going to fill out the rest with wide receivers. Also, another reason why I take Jamal Williams there instead of waiting is no wide receivers right now look good to me at their ADP. Like, I'd be reaching on Sterling Shepard. I'd be reaching on Denzel Mims. I'd be reaching on Bryan Edwards or Amon-Ra St. Brown, in my opinion. So if I'm reaching on them, I can get them in the next round or 2 rounds from now. Might as well just get a running back who at least looks like a value at the spot that he's at. I could have taken another tight end there, but they all look very similar. Eric Ebron, Blake Jarwin, Jonnu Smith, Jared Cook, Austin Hooper, right? They all look very similar. DJ will be my sleeper running back this year. Watch, says Executive Session. Executive Session, how you doing? Who is DJ? David Johnson? Sleeper running backs for 30-year-old running backs is, I don't think that's the proper saying. Philip Lindsay now there. I'd rather have Philip Lindsay at ADP. I mean, you're going to get them both really late. Amon-Ra St. Brown I've come down a lot on. He fell a lot in my ranks. Just not somebody I'm looking to take these days. So every time I see a green or a red, these quarterbacks or running back go, it feels fantastic to me. So many tight ends left. Like, I have 8 tight ends that I feel very comfortable drafting, even if it's a Cole Kmet later on. So it looks like it's going to be wide receiver show for me. We'll take peeks at tight end, but we're in the 13th, 14th round now. 4 picks left. I'm looking 3 wide receivers and 1 tight end. Let's see what falls to us at wide receiver as we're now approaching a round later, right? We're now approaching some of the wide receivers that I was interested in last round, but it's way too early, in my opinion, to take them because they will be here these rounds. Jacoby Meyers is, and there goes Cole Kmet, so he gets taken kind of early. Jacoby Meyers is being taken earlier than he probably should. One report comes out that he looks like the wide receiver 1 in camp, and everybody loves him. This is an undrafted free agent who 2 times last year popped off in an offense that had no other weapons, right? Damiere Byrd was like their 2nd best receiver. That's bad. The corpse of Julian Edelman, that's bad. So, yeah, Jacoby Meyers being taken this early is comical. I mean, Nelson Aguilar is a much better wide receiver through and through. Nelson Aguilar having drop problems is the only thing that keeps people, and that was 2 to 3 years ago, that's the only thing that keeps people thinking that he's a terrible receiver. Aguilar in 14 games, he played 16, but it was only really in the rotation for 14 of them last year, was quality. Jacoby Meyers stunk for the far majority of last season. Like, he had the one big game where he pops off. He throws a touchdown in prime time as I'm now on the clock. And for my wide receivers available, Brashad Perriman and Sterling Shepard there. We're taking Sterling Shepard over Brashad Perriman. Sterling Shepard's going to be in the slot a lot more this year. We can kind of backdoor, if we wanted to, a 3rd stack here. We can kind of backdoor this Giant stack since we have Evan Ingram and Sterling Shepard. But Sterling Shepard's going to be in the slot here a lot more this year. Kenny Golladay, Darius Slayton on the outside. Shepard, when he's healthy, is by far the best in the slot. So we'll take Sterling Shepard there. I feel good about that. It would have either been him or Perriman. There's no true understanding of what the hell they're going to do in Detroit. Tyra Williams is the most proven receiver in terms of body of work his whole career, and that's not by much over Perriman. Amon-Ra St. Brown is there. Hawkinson probably the best weapon there, but in terms of the passing game. Terrace Marshall's going earlier and earlier now. That's something to keep an eye on. Grab Jared Cook. Herbert about to use him since, I like Jared Cook. Looking to try some new drink this weekend. You have a favorite beer or cocktail? I like IPAs. Cocktail, I don't really have a favorite. Like, I like margaritas. I had some mojitos the past week at a bachelor party 2 weeks ago. So I guess I don't really care. I just like trying new cocktails. Refreshing cocktails. I had the Millie Mojito. It was at a wedding, so it was named after their dog, but it was so fucking good. So damn refreshing. So cocktails, no. I don't really go cocktails often. Usually I'll be at breweries if I go out. And if I'm like going out to like clubs, I'll just get like whatever the fuck the cheapest thing is, like a vodka soda or something, club soda. Tim Patrick goes. Interesting pick there in Tim Patrick. Hella early. So yeah, we're a couple picks away, and there's just so many good wide receivers left. I might as well keep taking them. I mean, like, compared to tight ends, Jared Cook just went. He would have been the one that I was looking at. Justin takes him. We probably should consider a tight end here, like Austin Hooper, Eric Ebron, Dawson Knox, the best available left in the 15th round. We can take one here. Might as well just lock it up. We'll see who he picks here, though. But, Yeah, so Tyra Williams goes, we'll take our tight end, and then our last 2 picks will be wide receivers. Because, like, the wide receivers left I'm not dying for, whereas getting one of these tight ends would be nice. Eric Ebron, Pat Frymuth is there, but he's a rookie. Austin Hooper. I'll go with Ebron. Showed the ability last year to really pop off. So we got our 2 tight ends. Eric Ebron with Pittsburgh and Evan Ingram. So we're good there. And now it's the next 2 picks, wide receivers. Like, at this point, wide receivers for me, it's very similar to why I took Jamal Williams earlier. These guys I think I can just get in later rounds, right? Whether that is Amari Rogers, Dwayne Eskridge. Like, the only guy that might go is, like, Brashad Perriman, Brian Edwards, but I'm not diehards for them. Denzel Mims, who I'm higher on than consensus because I don't take one report in the middle of summer with Keelan Cole operating on the outside as fact. Jacoby question mark? Yeah, I'm not really high on Jacoby Meyers. I mean, it's the 15th round. You can take him. I just think that he's being a little bit overhyped at this point. Jacoby Meyers, they bring in Nelson Aguilar. They bring in Kendrick Bourne. They bring in 2 tight ends. And for some reason, people think Jacoby Meyers is going to have maybe not the exact same role. Otherwise, he'd be drafted in like the 12th round. But he's getting close. He continues to rise up draft boards. Undrafted free agent who had 2 nice weeks last year as a receiver. 3 nice weeks overall. Only finished as a top 20 receiver twice as a top 20 receiver. And one of those weeks, he threw a touchdown to get him there. So I don't think that's going to happen again. So I admit he had 2 nice weeks as a receiver with no competition in the passing game. Really bad quarterback. I give you that. But still, now there's a lot more competition. Nelson Aguilar is better than him. I don't like Kendrick Bourne much, but he's there. At least to be in the slot, where Jacoby Meyers was operating out of the slot with success often last year. So I'll be curious to see how much he actually does that. AJ Green goes. AJ Green, I'm warming up to 15th round. Probably not. More so like 17th round. Still a lot of good receivers dropping. I mean, potential guys that can be RB1 or wide receiver 1s like Brashad Perriman. Brian Edwards. There's at least some sort of decision. Hey, Chester Copper Pot. I'll have a video coming out later today on Zach Wilson on a YouTube short. I'm not sure if anybody's been watching those YouTube shorts. Hopefully you're enjoying them. Last 2 picks are going to be receivers. We have our 2 quarterbacks, our 2 tight ends, and our 4 running backs. That's about all I want to do there. We'll just be choosing best available receivers based on my rankings. They're all updated. As a Pats fan, he is our best wide receiver, Jacoby Meyers. Yeah, I'm not too sure I agree with you. I agree that you may be a Pats fan, but watching the last week to 2 as he's rose up leaderboards, watching all of his, or draft boards, watching all of his film and the All-22 film of him, just not that impressive. I mean, he has 1-2 big plays on the entire year, and that's making people think that he's a wide receiver 1 on a team because a beat reporter said it. Maybe he will be. Odds are he won't be. I mean, the odds are not ever in his favor. I've been watching the YouTube shorts, Sal. I have. Shorts are fire. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, they're going to get a little bit better. Maybe a little bit more editing. I'm just trying to get them. Wow, Brashad Perriman falls to the 16.6. That's a good spot to get him. But yeah, the shorts will get better. A little bit more editing. I'll put a little bit more time into them. But trying to release a short later in the day for every day I release a video during the weekdays. So we've done a couple. There goes Denzel Mims. He would have been my pick. Since he goes, we're going to take Amari Rogers, who have put a short out on him, have put a Twitter thread out on him. We'll take him in the 16th round. We actually have 2 picks left. I thought I only had we had 3 total. I thought I only had 2. So we'll still close it out with wide receivers. Pats can't scout receivers. It does indeed seem like that. Who was the one guy that they had? Malcolm Butler. Malcolm something. Remind me of his name to the Pat fan in the chat. He got hurt like the one year. He was like an outside receiver, looked decent. Aaron Rodgers in the 16th, somebody says? Yeah, A. Rodgers in the 16th. A lot of good wide receivers still left. I keep saying that, but I like guys that are left right now. And I like a good amount of them. I think there's upside here. I mean, there's a real chance that we can sneak somebody in that doesn't get drafted often, and I kind of missed him because he's so low in my rankings, but I'm fine to take him to complete a stack in the 17th round if he falls to me, and he's about to. Yes, Malcolm Mitchell, yes. N'Keal Harry, somebody said, yeah, brutal. Malcolm Mitchell, yep, that's the guy I was thinking of. I want to be able to roster a Patriot this season, maybe Jonnu or Damian Harris. Damian Harris, I'd be able to roster at the right price, like the late 8th, early 9th. I'd be able to roster him there. Other than that, I'm getting Nelson Aguilar a lot because you get him in like the fucking 12th round as a wide receiver 1. Outside of that, though, yeah, I'm not maybe like a 16th round James White. We're a pick away, and I'm looking at a wide receiver that I want, and I'm willing to reach around on because in the 17th round, if I could reach around, and we're going to get him, the old reach around. Hate this guy, good amount, but we're going to draft Sammy Watkins here. Why are we drafting Sammy Watkins? Well, because he's on the Baltimore Ravens now, and we already have Rashad Bateman, and we already have Lamar Jackson, so let's get that stack completed. A triple stack paired up with a Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase stack. We like that. I don't like Sammy Watkins, but but the ability to stack him up in the 17th round, I would have taken him in the 18th if I thought he can fall there, but we'll take him there because there's nobody that I was dying to get, right? Like, it's like Josh Palmer's on the board, who's fine, but don't really see the full path to a role early in the season like I could see with Sammy Watkins. Just a lot of dudes left on the board right now that are all kind of same player, right? KJ Hamler, not much of a role. Kiki Kute could have a sneaky role, to be honest with you, because if you look at the wide receivers, it's Brandon Cooks on the outside, it's Randall Cobb still, it's Kiki Kute, Nico Collins, a rookie. Like, Kiki Kute is probably going to have a role in the slot. Thoughts on Byron Pringle? Yeah, I mean, in the 17th and 18th round, I'm not against Byron Pringle, and that's exactly where he went in this draft. My best available wide receivers are Josh Palmer, Allen Lazard, and I believe KJ Hamler in that order. I've been grabbing a lot of the corpse of AJ Green late in drafts. He could bounce back in that offense. Yeah, I think Larry Fitzgerald was somewhat relevant some weeks in that offense, and I think AJ Green has a lot more in the tank. The problem is AJ Green's a primarily outside receiver, where Larry Fitzgerald was operating the slot, which just means you don't have to have as much jump ball ability or as much burst. So that can be the issue. David Johnson will get 15 to 20 touches a game, and they'll suck, so he'll be getting 6 to 8 targets too. I don't think that's true at all. I don't think, you just told me that David Johnson's going to see 21 to 28 opportunities a game. Maybe 6 years ago for like 4 weeks. That's just not true. David Johnson is probably going to see 12 to 16 touches to start the year. Philip Lindsay's there. And say what you want about Philip Lindsay. He's going to be involved. Probably to equal or slightly less extent as David Johnson. This is like the third year in a row that everybody wants to make David Johnson. He last year he was like a 4th, 5th round pick. Now he's like a fucking 12th round pick. So if you want to take him in the 12th round, I have nothing against it. I just usually take Jamal Williams and some other guys there who I think have more burst. And honestly, similar workloads. Like, to think that Jamal Williams' role is that much lower than David Johnson, I think is incorrect. I think people are assuming David Johnson is a workhorse running back because of what he did 4 years ago. He is not going to be heavily involved. Last year, you could look at David Johnson's week-by-week touches last year, even with Deshaun Watson and a much better offense and being in the red zone a lot more. David Johnson was just struggling to get touches and to make anything out of those touches. Quadre Olsen goes in the 18th round. Interesting. David Johnson last year, 14 touches, 13 touches, 15 touches, 18. There's a 20. There's 2. That's when he got hurt. There's 10. There's 18. There is 15, and there's 17. So once or twice he hit 20. For the most part, he was hovering around like a 16-touch season. And now he doesn't have, more than likely, Deshaun Watson. And he's a year older. And they brought in more competent competition instead of Duke Johnson, Philip Lindsay, who I think is better. Alrighty, we are very close to my final pick. I guess we'll just fucking go with like, let's see. If he falls all the way to me, we might as well just go Josh Palmer. He's my best available. He's been my best available. I'm not going to go Allen Lazard because he's directly competing with Amari Rogers. We'll take him off my board. Tyron Johnson goes. All right, so Josh Palmer, I think he's going to be behind Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, so that's not great. 3 wide receiver sets, maybe gets on the field when Allen goes into the slot. There's Amir Smith-Marset. There's just nothing left at this point. Palmer's my best available. I'll probably go Palmer. Rashad Higgins will have somewhat of a role. Anthony Schwartz is there now, so we'll just go Palmer. Close it out with Palmer. Not a bad draft. Not a bad stream. 50 minutes, 55 minutes or so. I appreciate everybody who tuned in today. We got a lot of people up in here. I'm in Central Time, so it's like 9:30, 10:30 by you. So thank you. We'll have a life update podcast with my girlfriend and I tomorrow, and then just NFL videos every day, and in the YouTube Shorts and the TikTok will all come out later in the day. So if you're not already, I assume you are, but if you're watching on the replay, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe, like. I've been playing around with the lighting. There's like that light in the back's literally just like a fucking studio light that's just for show. There's a studio light here shining just on the dollar bill to make it look a little bit more colorful. So we need the NFL season is what I'm saying. 13 days until the first preseason game. Unfortunately, it's just an appetizer and a tease because it's a 1-game slate on Thursday, and then you have to wait a week until the rest of the preseason. But this year, they're doing it a little bit differently. Normally, it's just like Saturday, Sunday, and Monday preseason games, I believe. This year, it's Thursday to Sunday every week, and then one of the weeks it's Thursday to Monday. So less weeks of the preseason, one less week, so we can get the regular season one more week, but they're expanding it across more days, so that's fun. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to draft on Underdog with me or just draft by yourself, you can make private leagues in the Discord. You can check it out. They have a bunch of different contests. $25 for you for free right now if you want to, using the code SAL, limited time offer. I don't know when it ends. They just tell me every week the offer, and we get an email from them, the marketing partners. The offer is still available, so tell your folks. Use the code SAL or the link below. You get $25 your first time signing up. Fill out my ranks, my top 200s, my tiers, player profiles, key stats, database, all that stuff to dominate your drafts. The tiers is what I use most. Top 200 is fine, tell the difference between players, but the tiers is what I use most. That's all down below on the big energy sports site where is my draft guide. There's a premium draft kit. Let's answer any final questions. Daniel Jones, yeah, I'm fine with him in the later rounds. I just didn't need a third. Will Dallas have 3 1,000-yard wide receivers in a 1,200 running back legendary season? Well, the 3,000 receivers was the last one was like the Cardinals, right? I was like Albert something, or I forgot who the third. It was like Anquan Bolden, Fitz, and then the third always, I don't think it was Andre Roberts. It was something like that. I always forget. Sal, start an ASMR channel. Thoughts on Bateman from Baltimore? Yeah, I think Bateman is a solid pick late in drafts. He is just as good as it gets when it comes to getting a potential wide receiver 1 breakout, especially being drafted late in the first round of the NFL draft. It was just a steal for Baltimore, and now they have their wide receiver 1 when people are viewing him behind Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown still. That's a big mistake. That's a really, really big mistake. Good time, Sal. Good luck. Yeah, good draft. Good draft. Appetizer game was definitely a troll. I agree. If you have any stacks for best ball, what would it be? If you could have any stack for best ball, any stack, you have to pay for it, but Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Amari, you have to pay for it, though. Thoughts on Bateman from Baltimore? Like him a lot. I just drafted him. See you for the next one. Yeah, see you for the next one. All right, everybody. Peoples Jones have a role this year? I don't think so. Peace out, gang. See you in the next one. Enjoy. See ya.